All right, so continuing with my ramblings about why dating sucks in 2022. In the first video I posted, I talked about how basically, aside from social media and dating apps, how our city design makes dating difficult, incredibly difficult. And also, the design of our cities pretty much facilitate the use of dating apps and social media. So, a quick summary of that is the fact that your typical average adult in the U.S. will wake up, drive to work, and then drive home, and then spend the day at home. Or if they do anything else outside the home, it might be stopping at a coffee shop or going to the gym or what have you. But the big thing is our cities are built around cars, which doesn't facilitate a healthy social life or dating life, which makes dating apps more prevalent because if you're not meeting anybody throughout your day, then you have less chance of finding someone to connect with. And on top of this, too, if you do meet someone, the off chance that you do, just on your day to day, whatever you're doing, whether you're out at a club on the weekends or on the weekdays if you have the time, they're probably going to ask for your Instagram or Snapchat, depending on how close you get during that interaction. In which case, that's being used for social proof or social verification. Since they don't see you on a day to day, they can't verify who you are as a person. So they're going to use your social media to do so. So with that in mind, the second video was just about how there's this fantasy about moving cities and traveling as well. And a lot of people, there's some YouTubers that simply come on here and say, oh, the problem isn't traveling to cities or your environment. The problem is you. You got to fix you. This whole cringy kind of outlook on life or just cringy take on things. And really, the problem is the environment. The environment doesn't facilitate an active social life. It doesn't facilitate an active dating life either. So in this video, I just want to talk about this underlying theme of social media and kind of touch on it. So social media helps with a lot of things. It's not just, it helps a lot of things. So I mentioned the fact that it's used for social proof and also finding your social standing on a global scale. So if you was to get someone on social media and you saw that they had maybe 200 followers and you're someone that is looking for someone higher, like social status or of a higher status in any kind of sense, you probably want someone with more followers. But even just aside from that, if you was getting someone on social media and you saw that they have pictures going skiing, they have pictures snowboarding, they have pictures out on jet skis, oh, that's cool and all, right? But what if the pictures are only them? Their entire social media page is just simply them. Well, you can deduce that either they don't have any friends or they're very narcissistic. Even a narcissist, I feel like, would probably have people on their social media page in order to help boost their image so they can kind of have that attention. So you can deduce that they're a loner potentially, and from there you just make the distinction. Okay, so this person there's something wrong with this person. No one wants to be around them, whatever it might be. So yeah, social media in large part can be used for social status verification and just social verification in general. And that's kind of the underlying theme throughout this entire thing. With cities not being able to facilitate proper social lives and dating lives, because if you was to try to walk through your regular average normal city, the overwhelming majority of cities in America for sure, it's not going to be conducive to walking. It's more about cars getting from point A to point B, and then people getting to where they want to go by foot or even by public transit or whatever. Maybe you bike, use a scooter, skateboard, whatever it is. It's not designed for that. It's not facilitated for that. You're kind of in the way of all the cars getting where they need to go. And part of this is due to zoning laws. Part of this is due to pretty much just that, zoning laws, and then there's this whole other side of things where it's just focused solely on car infrastructure and environment that says that automobile companies, like in the 40s and 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, throughout the time, kind of put out there that, hey, roads are for cars. So that's why if you look at pictures from the 40s and 50s, you see areas that are pretty much, especially major cities, areas that are pretty much just full of people and not cars. And then over time, you'll start seeing more and more and more cars just populate the road. I mean, part of this is, yeah, due to the fact that cars became more affordable due to mass production, but a lot of it's just simply city design. I mean, it feels a lot more comfortable going and flying to some city in Europe or Miami or New York and walking around and exploring than it does to let me fly to some place like Kansas and walk around. It's not the same. It's not a comparison. But that's why social media is such a huge thing as it is now. The fact that as an individual, you can wake up and literally see not a single person, or at least a new person throughout your entire day, compared to if you was to go to New York, let's say, or at least Manhattan or a place like that where it's highly walkable. You can use public transit, the train. So yeah, that's essentially this video, kind of bringing the social media aspect out there. It's prevalent just due to the city design. Seriously, if you meet somebody in person and you see them on a day-to-day basis, you can get a feel for who they are. How do they act? How do they care themselves? Are they reading a book? Are they looking at their phone a lot? Do they make a lot of phone calls? What are their phone calls about? And usually you do this to people you're attracted to, so they're going to be a potential partner anyways, or potentially someone you want to date. So usually, yeah, you pay attention to the people you're attracted to. Everyone else who you're not attracted to, you don't see, you don't notice at all. They're just kind of there. They're just people filling a space, and then there's just one person that you're like honed in on. So you're focused on them. You're going to be able to observe them and hopefully make a good impression when you do to decide to approach, whether you're man or woman. But since the vast majority of people don't have that luxury, or at least most cities you don't have that luxury in because you're in your car the entire time as you go places, yeah, you kind of have to use social media when you do meet somebody, or you use social media or just dating apps in general to find dates. So that's the prevalence of dating apps and why dating apps and social media is just so prevalent. Specifically, we talk about social media, but why it's so prevalent in non-walkable cities, or why it has to be, and why it's going to be even more prevalent as we move on, unless there's just some magical turn that takes place where cities try to become more walkable or more bike-friendly and more facilitated towards people and not cars.